So Labour are promising lots of magic wands. That's why credibility is at the heart of this. I mean, the real heart of this is defence throws up a lot of things in your tenure, and it often requires money, but it requires people to meet the threat. So credibility is really important. Do your viewers and your listeners, do they trust that when half the Shadow Cabinet only a few months or years ago voted against Trident, who always seemed to be supportive of disinvesting in defence over the decades, do we really trust that Keir Starmer's change is a change for defence, or is it really he's changing his mind yet again? I mean, the only change you're going to get from Labour is a constant changing of mind. I don't know.
It's an area of credibility when it comes to patriotism too. I mean, in John Healey's piece today, I think he says the word patriotism, I think 5, 6, 7 times. But this is something Labour... But Labour is absolutely desperate to prove. I mean, you've seen Sir Keir Starmer with the Union flag. It's this idea that we are changed and all this stuff that you love, we now love. The question is, do voters really believe it?
Someone said that Keir Starmer could wrap himself will be wrapping himself in an England flag with a flare up his bum by the end of this campaign.
Is it? Well, no, first of all, I think the question is, patriotism does matter. I'm a North West MP. They hated Corbyn. You know, in the North West, in Barrow, in Lancashire, we make fighters, we make military equipment. Labour knows that hurt them. The challenge here is whether Starmer is the credible candidate to lead that change.
Is it credible to be trying to renew our fleet, renew our nuclear arsenal, and run, an army in a time of heightened threat? Surely 2.5 is a drop in the ocean.
Well, 2.5 is the beginning. And that's why you need the pledge. I mean, Labour need to match...
Do you like this pledge from Labour? The triple lock. The triple lock
the triple I think the whole thing is, right? It's all made up. First of all, if you want to know any facts, right...
Well, there's no Ofcom here, it's great.
The Dreadnought Trident submarines, we're already on the third one. The first one is almost completely segments together. The second one, all the segments are made. We've cut steel on the third. Labour couldn't cancel it if they wanted to, right?
Well, some of them did. Lots of them did.
Well, I remember Jeremy Corbyn suggesting they were made into a tourist.
I think we can actually see. I think we can see Jeremy Corbyn and his views on our nuclear defences. Let's have a look at that.
I make it clear today that I would not take a decision that kills millions of innocent people. I do not believe the threat of mass murder is a legitimate way to go about dealing with international relations. Is it not time, Mr. Speaker, for us to step up to the plate and promote rapidly nuclear disarmament? That's a good point.
Kate, there's Jeremy Corbyn, just 5 years ago, saying, does Labour have a credibility problem on defence? They're trying really hard this morning. Look, we've got John Healey in The Sun, the Forces paper. They're talking about recruitment. They're talking about Royal Marines. This is a completely different Labour message from the last election. But is the public going to buy it?
Well, I think there's some evidence in the polls that the public has bought it. Labour has increased when it comes to trust on defence and security issues from where it was previously.
It's quite a low bar, though, wasn't it?
It was a low bar, but what I think is really interesting here is that Labour isn't just talking about investing or maintaining, as Ben Wallace says, the commitments that the Tories have made. They've gone around and they've got 14 army veterans standing as Labour candidates. Now, that tells you something. It tells you that they've seen from a long way off that they have a credibility problem here and they need to do something about it. And in finding, recruiting and signing up these types of people to run for Labour, it shows you that they want people to see Labour as a change party. What I would say is the big question is this a long-term commitment now? Because as Ben Wallace was indicating, it's years and years and years of underinvestment. Recruitment is very poor in some of the most important areas of the military. You can't solve that overnight.
I set it up as Security Minister. We have a joint command. We already had it. We put a Navy officer in charge of it with all the multi-agencies. We already have it. I mean, Yvette Cooper hangs around like the Home Office pub bore at the end of the bar. She's criticised the government for decades, but when it actually comes to, OK, Yvette, and what are you going to do? It's no number, no figure on how they're going to do it, nothing at all, except expand MI5's obligation to now deal with organised crime, but which if you ask people in MI5, they're horrified with because it comes with hundreds of millions of pounds to expand them, and they're focused on terrorism, extreme right-wing, counter-hostile states. But, that's all we've had from Yvette Cooper. No answers.